So next speaker from PJM, familiar face. If you have come to our TMD users group meeting, TomKeyser. Not only is he the transmission system operator, the end user, and I'm telling you, he built most of the Pi display. Impressive. Please welcome Tom. Thank you.
How you guys doing?
The next one.
Okay. So I'm just going to give you guys an update on what PJM's doing with Pi. I'm going to give you a little overview of what PJM is, in case you guys aren't aware, and then wrap it up at the end with some of the Pi displays that we use in the control room. So PJM is an RTO, and here's just a map of the RTOs in the United States. And PJM is in the Mid-Atlantic area. And this is just a little closer up view of that. We're operating 13 states. A little bit about the history. PJM was founded in 1927 when the electric utilities from Pennsylvania, Jersey, and Maryland got together to pool their resources together. Our headquarters is in Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, and we have a second control room up in Quakertown, which is about 45 minutes north. A little bit about the overview of PJM. So we operate the wholesale electric market in the 13 states, and we also manage the real-time transmission system. So our peak demand is about 163,000 megawatts and 185,000 megawatts of generation capacity. Our territory includes 6,000 substations and 62,000 miles of transmission lines. And we dispatch 1,200 generators. This just shows PJM doesn't own any assets as far as generation or transmission substations, but we rely on the utilities within our control area to provide us data through ICCP links to the PJM Control Center. As far as our EMS and market systems, we use a Siemens Spectrum EMS. We have 2 independent EMS systems running, one in each control room. So it's like a hot system. They're running all the time. Each week we switch from one system to the other system. And we're using Alstom for our energy market, real-time security constrained economic dispatch, and our day-ahead and real-time market. So as far as the Pi system in PJM, right now we're collecting and we use 1.4 million tags. And you can see the amount of servers we have. What's nice is we have Pi servers for our EMS simulator for dispatcher training. So, and our dispatching training facility, we use the same displays there as we do in real time. Some of the Pi system overview. Last year, we upgraded to Pi Server 2010. This year, we plan to upgrade to Pi Server 2012. We had a big project last year to add all the state estimated data into Pi. And that helps out so we can monitor real-time flows against state estimated flows. Also, there's some areas in our system where we don't get the real-time flows, so now we can put trends of that on our video walls. We installed Pi AF. We're currently working on the model for that. And we use Pi ACE, Pi Web Services, and we're also starting to collect the single phaser data. Pi client overview. We're using OSI web parts. We created displays that NERC and FERC uses that look at critical data. They want to be able to monitor what's going on in the PJM area. We're using process book displays for dispatchers in the control room. We also used Pi displays for restoration drills and also for training. Process book displays are also used by other departments in PJM for after event analysis, and the engineering support group also uses the Pi data link. And this information that we're collecting in Pi SCADA, pretty much everything that's in the EMS, we're capturing, we have Pi points for. State estimated data, and also the market data. So everything in our markets, as far as generation bids, dispatch rates, pricing, everything. Anything pretty much you see in the control room at PJM on a computer, we were capturing data for that in Pi. As far as the synchrophaser data, so we have 360 PMUs installed in 90 substations, and they're just about, from right before I came here, they said they're just about all installed at this point, and that's covering 10 states. We're collecting 2,000 tags, and you can see about 1 terabyte of data per month is collected. And there's also a project in the future, PJM will also collect synchrophaser data from our neighbors. So I think as far as down south as Florida and on all out west. So we're going to be getting a lot of synchrophaser data for us to use and analyze. This just shows a map of where the PMUs are being installed in PJM. A lot of the 345 kV substation, pretty much I think all of the 765 kV stations, and a lot of the 500 kV stations. This just shows an example of the phaser data. We're not using it in real time yet. They're going back and looking at analysis of events on the system. But the bottom plot just shows, a little segment of the top plot. It's a frequency. And you can see with the SCADA on the top plot, you see a little spike. But when you look at it with the phaser data, you can see that how this spike is a lot larger there. Some of the ideas that we have to use synchrophaser for real-time, as you can see there, alarming, wide area situation awareness. Because we're running such a big system, we want to be able to look at different areas to see how stable it is. And also dynamic line ratings. Maybe we can, if we see real-time value and maybe increase in line flows during certain times of the day. So as far as the control room Pi displays, we're using Pi displays on our video walls throughout the control room, and we monitor everything from voltages, frequencies, generation, output, loads to the different areas, the tie lines between companies. We have one-line overviews, and also looking at megawatt reserves throughout the area. And this just shows that at one of the control rooms, this is the control room in Quakertown, and at the top and at the bottom, they're the video walls. And so we have video walls throughout the control room. And I'm just going to show you some of the displays that we have here. This is the generation desk, and the operator looking at the generation wall, output of generation, the generators within the different zones, and our tie lines, and the megawatt reserves. And I'm just going to go, pretty much, this is a picture tour from left to the right of the control room. So you got the generation video wall on the left. And other than a couple video inputs on the top left-hand corner of the second screen is for weather and news. Everything else on all the video walls is all Pi displays. And there's a couple more pictures here. As a closer up, on the left-hand side we have wind output on the top, and then below that combustion turbines and steam units. We color code steam units based on output, based on if they're carrying spinning reserves or if they're regulating. We have one-line overviews of trouble areas in the system. We have voltage plots. Here's a detailed shot, closer looking at on the transmission video wall. We use bar charts to look at voltages. We color code them if we've got high voltage or low voltage. They change color. Below that is the transmission, the high voltage transmission map that shows the 500 kV system and the 765 kV system. And we color code generators that are on and off, and also tie flows. If lines are in or out of service, they change color. And this is a closer look at the generation video wall, where we're monitoring, the tie line flows and generation output. We look at the frequency and the load. And a couple more displays. And this is just a couple of different displays that we built in-house. This display is where we use to where we monitor the balance of generation and load. So we built this display, and the center dot is larger, and that's like where your current value is of your area control error, and it has a little tail there that it's like the history of the last like couple minutes, and it tells you where you were as far as your ACE control. And another display that we use in the control room, this is the tie flows in and out of each of the different control zones within PJM. This display we use in our control room, what we did was we overlaid the ACE from each of our EMSs and also our backup, our GMS. And if all the ACE are tracking on top of each other, we know all the data is good. If we get a spike in one of these trends, we'll actually, on the top left-hand corner, that green will turn to red, and then where it says good up there, that will tell you which EMS has bad data. So we have to make sure our GMS and both our EMSs always have good data in case we have to switch from one to the other. We don't make sure that they all have good data there. Another PI display that we're using for monitoring all our hydro within PJM. We got a lot of hydro, about 15,000 megawatts of hydro. And this is a close-up of the bar charts for our voltage. This is most of our 500 kV are critical substations, and we have this display up so we can monitor where, when you start to see low voltages or high voltages. This is a close-up of our transmission map. This is an overview of the 500 kV system, and we monitor this for flows and generation output. Another thing that we're doing with PI is looking at the wind forecasting. We have about 6,000 megawatts of wind. When it first came on, we had a hard time with the outputs. The wind outputs would be increasing and decreasing without us really knowing and have a good idea. But now we're pulling forecasted data into PI, and we're putting an overview of the forecast and the actual output of the wind. It's helped us out a lot in the control room. We're also using forecasted data for our loads. So here's a display that has each of the loads, the large load centers, and with the actual load and the forecast for the next 16 hours. Here's another display that we're using in the control room. It has the current load, and also what we can do is go back in history and pull. We look at similar days as far as the weather, and we pull in similar days based on the weather, and we overlay them on top of each other, and it gives us a good idea of where the load's going to go. And this last display is we look at our flow gates and major flow gates throughout PJM, and we have the data up there on our video wall so we can keep track on when we're approaching limits on some of our flow gates. And I think that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
He only used 15 minutes. And he got the most slides. Good job. Okay.